Let's start creating your look. If you haven't already done so, download the GameFace HD app. Scan yourself and get your face in the game.
I just want the rings. The ring. It took a lot of sacrifices just to get her, you dig? I had to go out there and get it. Who ain't gonna come to me? Yeah. I just want the rings. Yeah. Like I'm down on one knee. Yeah. And it ain't no I-team. Yeah. Everything what it seems. Yeah. I've been having bad dreams. Yeah. That I was
Your hairstyle says a lot about your look. Let's choose yours.
I feel like Larry Bird. I feel like Julius Erving. I feel like Magic Johnson. They gon' retire my jersey. They gon' owe me an apology. I deserve me a ring like I'm Iverson. I done Major Man do a type. Shooter like I am Stojakovic. I'm feeling like Kobe. Shooting 1,000 shots a day. Where I'm from, yeah, that ain't none. They shoot 1,000 shots a day. Lot of sacrifices that it takes. Are you willing to do what it takes? I wanna be mentioned with Pox and Biggs and Dre's and Yays and Jay. I wanna Benz. I want a best friend. I want the Louis V lens. I want to Ray with a 10. I want to find the things. I want designer things. I want a lot of things. I just want the rings. 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 The rings. I just want 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 the
Let's start creating your look. If you haven't already done so, download the GameFace HD. Beard, scruff, or clean shaven, your path to facial hair greatness starts here. Now it's time to decide what kind of player you want to be. First, let's choose your player type: guard, wing, or big. Now, let's define your style of play. This will determine the impact you have on the court. Now, it's time to choose your player's height and weight. Every choice you make here will affect your player's physical capabilities, both good and bad. So choose wisely before you lock in.
got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though ambition, flow inside my DNA. I was born like this and sworn like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this with new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off your head. This that put the kids to bed. This that I got realness. I just killed this cause it's in my DNA. I got millions, I got riches building in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil that rot inside my DNA. I got off, I got trouble, some heart inside my DNA. I just win again, then win again like Wimbledon I serve. Yeah, that's him again. The sound that engine in is like a bird. You see fireworks and Corvette tires skirt the boulevard. I know how you work, I know just who you are. See, use your hormones probably switch inside your DNA. Problem is, all that inside your DNA. Daddy probably snitch, heritage inside your DNA. Backbone don't exist, born on side a jellyfish I gave.
Like millions of other kids, you dreamed of one day being in the NBA. You wanted to be a star, and someday to rise above and become the greatest to ever play. You dreamed of being the one. But the road to stardom is never easy. There are obstacles, injuries, and disappointments. Adversity is universal. It can happen to anyone at any time. And one day, it happened to you. You went from being a guaranteed lottery pick to a kid who may never even play college ball again.
Now, look, it's always bad to hear about injuries, especially to college kids, of course.
Yeah.
But Stephen A. Smith, this one is particularly disheartening because we are 2 weeks into the season and one of the top NBA prospects in the country goes down potentially with a season-ending injury, a knee injury. That's a killer.
I couldn't agree more. When I heard he was carried off the floor today, all you can do is find yourself hoping that he'll make it back. That's the bottom line. But my heart goes out to him because I didn't expect this. This is a devastating injury. It's never good to have something like this happen to you.
The team doctor broke the news. Torn ACL, sprained MCL, and a torn meniscus. Surgery was scheduled, but your game will likely never be the same. At the 2016 NBA draft, your name is still mentioned. Not as a prospect, but as a cautionary tale.
Now, there's another huge story in this year's draft. A record number of underclassmen, 30 of them, undrafted. And I hope, anyway, that this is a lesson, this serves as an example to college players. I'm not talking about the ones who are genuinely one and dones, the guys you know are going to be lottery picks. I mean the rest of them. They're not sure shots. You're not sure they're going to be lottery picks. Don't just use the college system for a year thinking you're going to bounce. It doesn't work like that. If you don't have the talent, it doesn't work. You got to be cultivated in the system.
Please. There you go again with your blanket generalizations. You know how you are, oh, Max, the woe is me, oh, my Lord. I can't take it. I just can't take it. It's a case-by-case basis. You can't just blanketly decide this should not be one and dones or this should be one and dones. You got to go on a case-by-case basis. Some dudes deserve to be one and dones. Some people don't. It's on a case-by-case basis.
And that is my point. Thank you for making it for me. Every kid thinks they're the exception to the rule. And members of the media like, Stephen A. Smith, are encouraging these kids to come out early.
Look, Max, bottom line is this. You got a lot of promise. What does he do? He goes to college. Very uneventful first year, no doubt. The second year, he was pretty good. Here's the problem. The NBA, it's not about pretty good. You need to be great on the collegiate level, on the prep level, in summer leagues and what have you, in order for you to get the stature that you deserve. That's the bottom line. You're pretty good ain't good enough to be that stud NBA.
That's exactly my point.
Let me finish. There's another example. I did say the Hype brothers. I wasn't talking about one individual. I was talking about two. What happens? One and done in a different way. 1 year, one ACL injury later, and look where he's at now. His future is clearly uncertain. So you got to take advantage of that opportunity because you never know when an injury is going to cost you everything.
Stephen A., listen to yourself. Let's listen to yourself for a second. You give one argument for why a kid should come out early, a one-and-done situation. I can give you 30 arguments this morning alone why they should stay in school. And now you have to wonder what a kid like Nick Howard, who has given up his college eligibility, does next. What does he do next?
First of all, don't sweat the technique. The argument, or one argument, as long as it's strong enough, that's all that matters. That's number one. Number two, the Hype brothers was something special. What they really, really need to do. I'm going to tell you what they need to do, Max. They need to get back to playing together. My sources are telling me the ACL injury has been completely healed. So go on a Pro-Am circuit. Go in summer leagues. Do what you got to do to get back on the court together to remind everybody of what you once were. Because once you pull that off, the sky's the limit. That's what they need to do. Get back to playing ball together, because when people see what you can do as one, the other arguments don't really matter. Like I said, don't sweat the technique.
It was me, Joey, me, James on the same place, same friends, never changed. Wise full of straight swerves with your lanes. All this money in the world, it's a shame to go. Fame is the goal, we can't get along. I aim to be big, I aim to be big. Till it's free. Made to be this, back in praise with a gift that just can't be dismissed. It's Kamaya, please retire. Girl, set the city on fire. I've been broke all my life. Now wonder, how does it feel to be rich? How does it feel to be rich? Oh, I done worked all my life. Now wonder, how does it feel to just live? How does it feel to just live? Oh, everybody want money, want the fame and the clothes. Everybody losing friends, people change when they grow to be known in the game. I've been waiting too long, spit fire, spit flames, and I came for the throne. Told them once, told them twice, this is ain't what they want. They speak, then they hate on the low. The pace all you know, your face gotta go. I aim for a change, you stagnant the same every day, all day. Youngest swing in my chain, till I can't. Start the waves that you take, swag in our name, but you can't be the game. Foreign whist when we swing, BMG do our thing. It's Kamaya, please retire. Girl, set the city on fire. I've been broke all my life. Now wonder, how does it feel to be rich? How does it feel to be rich? Oh, I done worked all my life. Now wonder, how does it feel to just live? How does it feel to just live? Oh, how does it feel to be rich? How does it feel to be rich? How does it feel to just live? How does it feel to just live?
I come to get down. Everybody get up. Yeah, don't fight the fire when it hits you. Do it to you. Get you enough. That's why I say get up. Why you sitting? Get up. Yeah, don't fight the fire when it hits you. Do it to you. Get you enough.
Yeah, what your mama gave you. You got to act right, I should nominate you. You know you a star, keep it shining, baby. Girl, I put the house on you and accommodation. Tell them I'm a dance machine. I only pay attention, you should dance for free. I can show you things that you can't believe. We should play together, come and join the band with me. Hot, gone Tina Turner on 'em. Got the place lit, you the furnace on her. Girl, you drive me crazy, keep it swerving on 'em. Blood on the dance floor, need an organ donor. Put your left foot in, take your right foot out. Money maker, what it's all about. If you're giving me the number, should I call you now? Fly brother, but I need the gravity super freak. I come to get
down. Everybody get up. Yeah, don't fight, fine. When the issue, do it to you. Get you enough. That's why I say, get up. Why you sitting? Get up.
This is New York City, the mecca of basketball. The original Rucker League began here in 1947. 9 years later, the tournament found a permanent home uptown at PS 156 Playground. Those early Rucker days showcased talents like Lou Alcindor, Wilt the Stilt, and Earl the Pearl. It's also where Julius Erving became the Doctor, in honor of the tournament founder. Now, many have influenced the growth of the Rucker since, but none more heavily than the late great Greg Marius, founder of the EBC. Many would argue that the Ruck is the birthplace of true street ball and the crossover dribble. Considering New York City's penchant for flashy guard play, there are few who can challenge that. After the legendary exploits of Rucker alumni like Rod Strickland, Rafer Alston, and Kyrie Irving, it goes without saying that getting crossed up or banged on can happen to anybody at any given moment here. It's no wonder that this unassuming uptown playground has become the most widely recognized street ball court in the world. Rucker Park, Harlem.
fame. I ain't tripping on a past flame. Even if they were dimes, how many tens want my last name? Is this the rap game or high school politics? Boss could be on Maury, cause they got a little